things haven't been looking good. Gurley he played last week, but I'm not sure how many snaps he had. He
got 6 carries for
six
about
carries.
6 yards, and he had a touchdown and they did a call back. He's on my fantasy football, so I'm about ready to drop him.
Can you close that door over there? So we're going to switch over to the bedroom. We're going to switch over to some MLB. Bedroom door, chance. We're going to switch over to some MLB. We're going to show the playoff picture. And it's getting that, obviously October, hunt for the red October, with the playoff picture getting pretty much set here in the National League. The New York Mets pretty much got the East.
That's a lockdown. Pitching stuff.
Matt Harvey, Jacob deGrom, Noah Syndergaard. John Neese is the veteran. You got Bartolo Colon. I'm not sure how exactly they're
Colon's still alive?
He's alive and kicking. He's
45 years old and still.
He's actually really good.
Next Jamie Moyer, huh?
Yeah, Harvey. They're having him start game 1. I'm sure they're gonna have him throw. What's gonna set up to pretty much gonna be New York Mets and the Los Angeles Dodgers. What's gonna set up to be because of St. Louis having the best record, and Pittsburgh, Chicago. It's going to be Chicago at Pittsburgh will be the wild card matchup.
What about the Chicago Cubs being back in the playoff hunt for the first time since 2007?
A long time. Chicago Cubs, and the question will be, and this will be a quick question for you. Who are you going to give the ball to if you're Joe Madden? Lesnar with the postseason experience, but he hasn't been as good for whatever reason lately. Or Jake Arrieta, the Bulldog, the probably Cy Young winner in the NL, but hasn't pitched, in the postseason yet. And you get it's a 1-game playoff in that wild card matchup, which is unfortunate.
I've said this for a long time. Being a coach, you give if it's a 1-game series, you give it to the person that's pitching better, and that's the Bulldog. So you give him the ball and you go deep, and if you need to pitch John Lester to win the game, you bring him in 2 out of the bullpen. I think you pull all the stops out to get to dancing.
Well, because they got Dan Herron, Kyle Kendricks, Jason Hamill.
Do you remember last year when the Royals won that game in 12 innings?
Yeah, you have to throw everything you got into it.
They made a miracle run in the World Series and came up a little short.
There's no tomorrow if all there is golfing in Florida if you don't figure it out.
So I definitely throw the Bulldog, and let's give Theo Epstein some props here because he was getting some hate mail in Chicago. Those fans in Chicago are pretty. They don't like the way
he did a lot of questionable moves and stuff, but obviously their scouting is really good. They got a lot of Javier Baez, Castro.
Castro's a stud. What's their first
Rizzo. They got a lot of young talent there, and they're kind of was maybe looking forward to next year. Maybe competing this year, but they are doing more than competing. They can put up runs, and they got a pitching staff that can hold it down too. So, and let's take a look at the Pittsburgh's pitching staff here. They got the ace that threw today, that beat St. Louis Cardinals. Garrett Cole, the youngster, that he's going to have his last start today, and then he's going to be ready for that game. I think it'll be next week because it's this last week of MLB. Francisco Liriano, the veteran, the lefty.
Dude,
the Minnesota veteran.
Man, he had a heck of a career going until he had that surgery. It's glad to see him that he's back in the game.
He was out of the question there for a year or two,
and
then came back. Then showed he's been really good. Actually, they've been really, really good. Charlie Morton and Jeff Locke, and they got J Happ and Burnett.
So, but the good thing, the advantage for the Pittsburgh Pirates. This is the 3rd time in the playoff with the 1-game thing that they've been in it. So they know it's going to be rocking in Pittsburgh. They're going to give it all they got, and so I'm going to have to probably say Pittsburgh in that game.
But I would say might be an advantage for Chicago to play that game in Pittsburgh because it gets a little stress off of them because they got that young group. You know, if they get a home game,
hostile environment.
No, I'm saying if they get a home game, you know, they might have too much pressure on them and they're not going to play as good as if they would. Maybe it'd be less pressure playing in Pittsburgh with all that.
The curse of the ability is going to get them.
Yeah, you play at home and everything, but that's a lot of pressure. Like I said before, both these franchises have been in a while since they've been, you know, deep in the playoffs. Especially when you got the Washington, what's been so good, and obviously St. Louis, and it's been playing on their mind for the last 5 or 6 years.
Mm-hmm. So it's good.
So we got so that's gonna be the first round matchup pretty much. The Dodgers. Let's take a look at the Dodgers real quick. They coming in. Right there. With one of the worst of all the playoff matchups, one of the worst away. You know, 'cause you have to win games on the road. One of the worst road records, 36-43, which is just. But they can kind of get away with it because if they get a first round matchup in a 3-game series, they got Kershaw and Greinke to start it off, and those two is about as deadly as it gets in the MLB.
But the thing is, they haven't performed in the playoffs ever.
Yeah, and they need to get those bats going. Gonzalez has been getting a little hot. Peterson, they have the little, what's the third baseman for the Mariners?
The Mariners?
Yeah, his brother's playing shortstop for the Dodgers now. Little Seager. He came up, was number one prospect. Sorry, it took him for a little bit. He was the number one prospect, and he came up this year, and I think he's gotten a hit in every game. But don't quote me on that. But he's a hit machine. He's a hit machine.
Hit and run.
He's really, really good, really fun to watch. Andre Ethier's kind of having a resurgent. Crawford. They have a good team, but they just gotta get those. Puig is on the DL actually. He's hopefully if they make it deep in the playoffs, he'll be able to come back. But he has a hamstring injury. Hasn't been.
Dang it.
Been doing good for him.
So who do you have representing the NL in the World Series?
So the National League, we'll make a bold prediction here, and the Cardinals. We didn't ever talk about the Cardinals, but Carlos Martinez went out. He's the number 2 starter. What was it? Last week I think, and he may not pitch the whole series, but they got John Lackey, Lance Lynn, and Jaime Garcia, which is still not bad. Waka is their ace, and they just got Wainwright back today as of the 30th of September here. But I think he's just going to be using the bullpen because he hasn't been pitched since last year in the playoffs. So, but the Mets. I think with Cespedes, they got Kelly Johnson and Uribe. I think Uribe is going to be out for a little bit, but we had all of a sudden a spark when they got them. Chicago or Pittsburgh. I don't know. I couldn't even say. I couldn't make a bold prediction right now. Actually, to be honest with you,
I will.
I'll take anybody in that wild card matchup. I'll take the Mets. I don't think St. Louis is going to this year, but every time I say that, they end up winning it. So, what do you think?
Pittsburgh.
You think Pittsburgh? I want to argue with you there.
I think Pittsburgh's going to make a run, and they're going to play the Royals.
McCutcheon.
And then the Royals win the World Series.
Well, we'll get to the AL here. We're at the 24-minute mark, so we'll just go through the AL real quick. Toronto is pretty much going to take the East, but they're in a battle for the Kansas City Royals. They're taking the Central for the best record to get the either home field at the end of the playoffs or to get the wild card or the West winner. Texas is right now ahead of the Los Angeles Angels, which actually has made a resurgence the last month or so, is now taking the second wild card ahead of Houston, which is down on a plummet. That usually when it comes to this in any sports, when you take a hit on the chin like they have had a month ago, and you just 2 out of 8 out of 10, and you keep on falling. It's hard to get back.
They're just so young, but I mean, I still think they're gonna make the push and knock out the Yankees. I think the Yankees will end up joking. I think
they're 6 out of 4. I guess in Minnesota they're only a game and a half out too, so they're right there. But the thing with I wouldn't be surprised if Houston missed. I'm on another way with that. They're a half game out, and their last series is in Arizona, which is on National League rules, which the pitcher's going to be. They used to play in the National League 4 years ago, whatever it was, but obviously not now. Gaddis is not going to be, going to be involved. He can still catch and still play a little bit else, but that's just kind of a weird timing to throw a National League opponent in there for Houston.
Was it for a makeup game?
I don't think so. I think that's just how they end it.
Wow.
But Los Angeles Angels, they beat up on the Mariners there, and so it's pretty much going to be the Yankees versus the Angels or Houston or Minnesota, pretty much. And unless Texas takes a big doo-doo, which could happen. We still got 3-4 games left, so. And then, so the wild card winner will take on the winner or the best record of Kansas City and Toronto, and then. So I think, but Toronto, they took a hit with Tulowitzki going out with the shoulder injury.
Yeah, that's too bad, man. I love Tulo.
They got Price at the deadline, a big upgrade. They got the knuckleballer R.A. Dickey, Mark Burley, the veteran.
Yeah, the GM really, he went after his job on the deadline. He said, I'm going all in or I'm going to get fired, basically.
They have to. Toronto, they back their sports. They've sold out every game for the last couple weeks, and that's not big in Rogers Center. Tough
to play in that field, too. So.
And with all those injuries, they just got back Marco Stroman, the youngster that's been out for a while with his knee injury, and he's pitched about 3 outings that's looked really good. I don't know if they're going to stick him in number 3 or not. They got Marco Estrada and Drew Hutchinson. I'm sure Hutchinson's going to be going to the bullpen. But, yeah, Toronto's looking really good. That's too bad that Tulowitzki got hurt. They got some power. They've I don't have my stats on there, but they've averaged way over. They're probably about a run or so over.
Yeah, they're killing it right now. So
everybody else. So
you're not going to pick a team out of the East now?
Not yet. Well,
I'm going to go Royals. I picked them winning it. So yeah, Royals
and Pittsburgh
in the Fall Classic. I love this part of the year. Basketball's getting rolling. Got the playoffs coming in.
Before you know it, basketball and hockey is going to be just right here.
I can't wait for college basketball.
College basketball. I think that's your specialty. But I think that's going to kind of wrap us up. We will return tomorrow. Tomorrow, the next day, we were going to do more of the Thursday night game, and we are going to do UFC. One way or another, we're going to do in-depth UFC 182 big card. I talked a little bit about it my last one, but I'm going to go in-depth, in-deep, 10 feet deep into it. It might take the whole thing. So any of my guys, anybody who wants to fly through the air, do some karate chops while watching, that's actually encouraged. So thanks everybody for watching. Appreciate it. We'll do a shout out real quick to I forgot his name.
It's a shout out to the Birdman.
Yeah, Birdman. I heard Birdman took a look at us. Thank you very much for the watching us. Ben Anderson, Go Ride 85. He Periscope. We didn't do a Periscope on this one. Sorry about that. We're having some technical difficulties. I guess our connection is. I guess we didn't turn the generator on. We forgot to turn the generator on. But apparently, got to pull start that next time. Low signal. But once again, everybody,
thanks for playing. Thanks for listening, and have a great day.
Hold up. Go ahead.